welcome back to The Person Everyone Needs. I'm your host, Webb Hoggard, and today we're talking about Jonathan's greatest hour. Oh, I'm so excited. This is like my favorite story to tell, so I might get a little excited. My voice might rise a little bit. I might even speak it a little too fast, so if you've increased the speed on your podcast, you might want to go back to 1 because I'm probably going to read this pretty quickly, but Jonathan's greatest hour is like my favorite story maybe that I've ever heard. So let's jump in. Jonathan's greatest hour. The day King Saul is thrust onto the world stage, Jonathan's life will never be the same. And it seems like he steps into the moment prepared for what his life's calling is. He's now a warrior at the right hand of his father. He's a gifted leader. So let's go back to the story, picking up where we left off. Saul struggles to step into his new life after being anointed. He goes back home and just keeps living as if nothing has happened. There were people in Israel who said that he could do nothing to help protect this nation, and it seems Saul believed the negative publicity. He was happy to live on his dad's farm until there was an attack on the nation he was to lead. And the Spirit of God gave him unforeseen courage. The people of Ammon attacked Israel and gave an ultimatum with all the men must give up their right eyes. This mandate would give Ammon a tactical advantage in war and place great shame on Israel's people. The news would go around quickly throughout the nation with the horrific distinguishing impairment. As Saul hears this news, he's plowing with oxen and decided to slaughter the oxen, sending pieces of them throughout all the tribes with this word: "May this happen to your oxen if you don't come to help our brothers against Ammon." And Israel responds. There are over 300,000 that deliver on Saul's request. They thoroughly rout the Ammonites in one morning. One morning. In 7 days, Ammon threatens, Israel unites, and their new king forges a new nation. The tribes of Israel are now one people. The people are so in favor of Saul at this point that they want to hunt down the men who spoke negatively of Saul to kill them. Saul shows mercy and says, let's just move forward. There was great rejoicing in Israel that day. God has sent a mighty king. But sadly, the rejoicing doesn't last for long. Saul struggles to know the place as king. He isn't a prophet or a seer, and so he has no place to make religious decisions. These roles were never separated before in Israel. The prophet Moses and the priests of Aaron were the leaders of the people in all facets of life. The judges were defenders of the people, and they assumed the role of spiritual leader as well. Not so with the king. The king is to govern the people, keep them safe from outside invaders and inside lawbreakers. Samuel goes into obscurity to allow for Saul's leadership to take hold in Israel. However, he is still the spiritual guide of Israel. Saul knows to consult the Lord before entering battle, so he sends for Samuel. Samuel delays. Saul is ready for battle. It takes Samuel 7 days to get there. But when Saul sees people starting to leave, knowing that he needs people to win the war, he's going to help God. The king does not understand that God is all he needs. Saul does not trust in the one who brings victory. He fears the people when he should fear God. Needing confirmation from heaven to inspire and keep the people, he makes the sacrifice to God himself. Saul knows it isn't his job. Just as Saul lights the sacrifice, he sees Samuel coming down the road and runs to meet him. He wants to explain why he ignited the offering. I was losing the people, Saul said. And Samuel's reply, that's your problem. You thought you were the one who gave you your power. And because of that, you will lose all God had for you. This moment is a big deal, not just for Saul, but for Jonathan too. His destiny forever altered. It becomes subject to God's future choice. He was in line to rule as king, but that will never happen. God gives Israel to another king's lineage. Jonathan lives as though the reality never phases him. He's a warrior at the right hand of his father. He's loyal. He's a leader. He's strong and mighty and ready for whatever God gives him. The Philistines at this point have created havoc across the entire land of Israel. However, Jonathan defeats a garrison of Philistines at Gilgal and overwhelms a fortified city well into the interior of Israel. This campaign is quite noteworthy because it's a lonesome victory at a dismal time in Israel. He was the type of commanding leader that could lead a nation into battle. Jonathan was a mighty man that warranted trust and inspired hope. Noteworthy because it was the most significant victory prior to David and Goliath's scene. Jonathan stands above the masses of Israelites as a possible peacemaker for God's people. In the meantime, we find Israel overrun by invaders. The Philistines, the Amorites, and the Amalekites are constant irritation to the people of Israel. As we talked about before, Philistia, at the break of the Iron Age, held a monopoly on iron in the land. In fact, to guard the economic stronghold, they had raiders and spies to ensure there were no blacksmiths in Israel. They were so meticulous that there wasn't even farming equipment manufactured among the tribes of Israel. All their instruments must be sharpened, repaired, and built by Philistines, ensuring their military prowess and industrial influence. It says in 1 Samuel 13 that the people of Israel were so fearful that they were hiding in bushes, in caves, in holes in the ground, and even graves. Imagine how messed up things must be to snuggle in a tomb in hopes not to get found. The fear that must have gripped these men is heartbreaking. Humanity thrives in the light. We express the wonder of the God who designed us to be his expression of authority and creativity in the world. Hiding goes against who we are. Humanity must be known. They were conquered and felt powerless to confront their overlords. It was hopeless. Things are so bare. There are only two swords allowed in all of Israel, Saul's and Jonathan's. Saul continues to lose men and knows he has no place in attacking the invincible Philistines. He's afraid, frustrated, and humiliated. He's defeated. But Jonathan wakes up one day and is ready for a fight. It seems Jonathan comes to life one day. I'm done hiding. I am waiting and wishing no more. Today I'm going to fight the fight, and if God is with me, victory will be mine. I'm not waiting another minute. He looks at his armor bearer and says, let's go over and see the Philistines. His armor bearer, most likely being a teenager whose sole job was to carry Jonathan's gear, this kid takes care of Jonathan. He's trained to serve, not to fight. He has no armor, no weapon. Warfare is not in his skill set. The armor bearer replies, do all that is in your heart. I am with you, heart and soul. Heart and soul. No matter what, I'm with you. If this is my last day, I'm going with you. I have come to serve you no matter the cost. Let's take this hill. Whatever you say, Jonathan, I'm with you. Oh, to have friends like that. So Jonathan goes and provokes the Philistines by setting up a test to see if God's hand is in the victory. We will show ourselves to them, and if they come down to us, we're toast. But if they call us up, we know God has given the battle to us. The plan is set. No plan B, no backup, no surrender. It's sink or swim. No one even knows they're going. The king nor the priest have been informed. The soldiers are not on standby. Jonathan says, let's provoke the enemy and hope God gives us a victory. When Jonathan steps out, the Philistines yell, come up here. Let us teach you a lesson. Jonathan looks at the armor bearer and whispers, God has given the battle to the hand of Israel. Let's take this hill. They crawl up the hill on hands and knees, and when they reach the soldiers, they begin to mow them down. This arrogant, ironclad army retreats in moments. In the distance of a football field, Jonathan has already cut down 20 men. Remember, only Jonathan has a sword. The armor bearer now has the pick of the spoils. Within steps, the servant accesses all swords, daggers, spears, shields, armor, all the armor he could want. I imagine this is how we look in the spiritual realm when we find Jesus, from death to immediate equipping against every evil thing. You see, when Jesus becomes our Lord, he defeats the enemies before us. He attacks the enemy and leaves the spoil behind for us to enjoy. Jesus takes back what the enemy has stolen from us, and we can pluck from the field. When we receive what Jesus leaves for us, we can access peace, love, prophecy, miracles, wisdom, power, the Word of God, endurance, and joy. As we run toward our hill, God provides what we need to overcome and persevere. Now, the young man is now a warrior, helping Jonathan fend off the enemy in Israel's way, because he answered the call that morning to go with Jonathan to look at the garrison. His response would change the future forever. His choice to follow this man of courage, honor, and faith would set things completely different. Jonathan was the type of guy you just said yes to, sacrificed for, and the guy you want to fight beside. You want to be a part of the warrior's story. As they took that hill, Jonathan advanced, killing those who came with a frontal attack. And the armor-bearer was on Jonathan's six, taking care of those attacking from behind. Picture like an old kung fu movie where the ninjas are swiping legs around in a circle. These guys are fighting back to back and mowing things down. Now, another way that probably happened, and this is actually how it happened, is Jonathan is wounding those coming at their front, and it was the armor-bearer's job to finish them off. Either way, they were working together, moving in sync with one another. There was a mass confusion that took place in the enemy's camp. I've often thought of this moment of fighting back to back. God promises to take care of the road ahead. His job is to provide the direction and protection moving forward. But our job is to keep at bay the things of our past that could hinder the mission God has for us. Past sins, hurts, darkness, weaknesses must be kept dead if we want to go where God is taking us. Then the whole Philistine garrison descends into a panic. Every soldier, raider, and servant in the Philistine camp trembled. They grabbed a weapon to begin the charge against those two men when an earthquake shook the ground. An earthquake. Warriors hit the ground, but Jonathan kept advancing. Horrifying sounds were coming from all directions. From a distance, Saul heard the sounds and rallied his men to join the fight. The enemy marauders were in such upheaval, they turned upon one another and began to stab one another. As they ran out of their tents, swords drawn, they thrust their fellow soldiers. Saul and his army arrived to finish the advance. The roar of mysterious noise, the earthquake, the camp's confusion, and Saul's army in pursuit inspired the tribe of Ephraim to rise and join the battle. They split the Philistines as they retreat to the north, creating even more havoc. God demolished the Philistines. God demolished the army. God gave victory to Jonathan that day. Now, as they push the invaders west toward their home in the Mediterranean Sea, the advance stalls because of the command Saul makes. He declares that no man should eat anything until victory, total victory. In hopes to inspire to fight harder and faster, he decides to place on these warriors an unnecessary and harmful expectation. This vow becomes more of a distraction than a motivation. In an attempt to look godly, by calling a fast until victory, the army loses strength. Between this and when the starving men finally do eat, they do not correctly slaughter the animals according to God's expectations. Meaning they ate the blood of animals because they were starving after fighting for so long. The fighting ended. The complete victory did not come to pass. Jonathan's decision to start a fight pays off immensely as it puts the Philistines on their heels. Jonathan doesn't hear of the rash vow his father makes in a selfish and terrified daze. He is completely worn out and needs some nutrition, so when he sees some honey, he eats it. He's refreshed quickly and is made ready to fight again, but the soldiers are fearful of what will happen to Jonathan. He even says of his father that the vow was a foolish decision. Imagine how far we could run all of them off if each of us had the honey to strengthen us. Saul finds out that Jonathan has done this and is ready to kill him. His stupid decision puts him in an awkward place of killing the hero of the day over a snack. The soldiers rally around Jonathan and keep the embarrassed king from killing his own son. Again, this move is showing how many people were loyal to Jonathan and how easy it was for people to reject Saul. Because of this episode, Saul lost heart and returned home, altogether quitting the pursuit. What the Lord was starting there with Jonathan was thwarted by the incapable leadership of Saul. Jonathan's courage was marked, and the people loved him. More important to Jonathan, he knew God was with him. Such courage and strength have not been seen on the battlefield for Israel in years. Jonathan sparked hope again. God had raised another warrior in Israel to protect her from the sinful nations of Canaan. Jonathan's audacity gave strength to a people who would have been demolished except for the shortcomings of Saul. Jonathan's great stand shines with courage and tenacity. I think of the quote by Winston Churchill during the toughest days of World War II. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island. Whatever the cost may be, we shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight in the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. I hope that the story of Jonathan inspires us to both wake up and show up, knowing that accomplishments achieved and enemies defeated follow our choices to move forward. Many have said the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men should do nothing. In life, great battles present themselves, and we must engage them courageously to move the world forward. Stop waiting to begin your life. Wake up. Stop calculating and move into action. In the end, Yoda is right. Do or do not. There is no try. You will find there's far more help than you think if you'll just get started. Everything you need to succeed is purchased, prepared, and presented to you. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. And if you'll believe that, wake up and move forward, you're a person that everyone needs.